Welcome to Cats and Rats Podcast, covering your Florida Panthers.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 51 of the Cats and Rats Podcast. I'm your host, Kirby Lupo, joined alongside my co-host, Cody Stevens. Nick Levine isn't with us here today, but we have a special guest here, Cody, as the Panthers are going back to the Stanley Cup Final for the third straight time. They have a chance to repeat here as Stanley Cup champions against the same opponent, the Edmonton Oilers. But before we get into that with our guests, we want to go back and talk about the Eastern Conference Final a bit and how the Panthers got through this. But without further ado, here's senior producer of the Dan Le Batard Show and co-host of the Hockey Show with David Dwork. We always love when David drops by. Today we've got with us Roy Bellamy. How's it going, Roy?
Hanging in there. Apologies for the late start. It's my fault that we were starting at 8:10 here Eastern. It's because I was cooking. I had some nice tri-tip that I cooked right here. You see,
Hey.
Little medium there.
For the recipe now.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it to you. Pretty decent actually. It tastes pretty good. Still juicy and everything.
There we go. But, I got back late today here too, Cody. Just getting things all in order for all our shows here this week. So we appreciate having Roy on.
It's going to be a busy 2 weeks here, especially with the schedule being absolutely horrible. But
I don't understand what they were doing. I don't understand why there was 1 day between game
4 and 5
and 2 days between games 3 and 4. I guess
it's 3 days actually.
It's 3 days.
It's 3 days. I think it's like game 3's on June 9th. Game 4's June 12th.
Ooh.
Roy, you might need that with your and David's travel schedule last year up there to Edmonton. I was tracking that. Jeez.
Yeah, we have booked our flight for game 5 if it happens. You never know. It might be a sweep. Hopefully for the guys that, the logo that you guys are wearing, hopefully that happens for that one. But we have booked our flights today for game 5. And there's 5 cities, I think, that we got to go through, not including this one. It's going to be daunting.
Probably Atlanta's probably on that list somewhere.
Yes,
There's a small chance that I'm in the building for if there is a game 7, Cody, but we'll leave that for now.
Small chance?
Yeah, small chance.
Well, I'm watching all the games from the comfort of my own home. So, because being a Tallahassee,
I'm in that arena. You can't get on me, Cody. I think I'm 1-0 there.
Hey, look, I'm a recent Florida State graduate, so all I got is the closest the closest hockey teams at Pensacola, the Pensacola Ice Flyers. of the SHL, and they were the worst team. And,
I only know Pensacola because of Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah,
greatest rap song ever. But going to this Carolina series, I mean, it was close to a sweep, nearly had one, and then Carolina came out game 4. I mean, they were great, blocking shots, diving for every puck, and game 5, a little bit of a scare there. Down 2-0 after 1, especially that late goal by Sebastian Ho. 2 costly turnovers by Gustav Forsling and Nico Mikkola. But the Panthers found a way, 3 goals in the second. Jarvis ties it up with 11 minutes to go, and then El Capitan. Just
the Panthers play of the playoffs, I will say, as of now.
As of right now, yes. It may be a hot take, but if the Panthers somehow do win the Stanley Cup, he's my Conn Smythe pick for the Panthers.
Yeah, close second with Sergei Bobrovsky.
It's one of those two to me.
Yep. I gotta say, Rod Brindamore 2 seasons ago said that it didn't feel like a sweep, even though it was a sweep. This one felt like a sweep, even though it wasn't a sweep. It's a complete reverse, and I think he would definitely say that.
Oh yeah.
What did you have, Roy, going into this series? How did you see it matching up? What was your kind of prediction?
Well, I came in thinking that, hey, listen, Carolina does the same stuff. It has the same game style as the Panthers, except the Panthers do it better, and that was proven over games 1 through 3. And obviously, they gave Carolina the win on game 4, but and the first period of game 5. But then the Panthers, they had the ability to score more than 2 goals in periods, and that's exactly what they did. It was a daunting task for Carolina to come back in that game, and they almost did. But giving them a power play late in that game, 6-on-4 with an empty net, Panthers penalty kill, excellent, and Sam Bennett cherry picking out of the penalty box with that puck. Saves another pet getting adopted. So
penalty at the worst time.
Cody, if that was someone else coming out of the penalty box on the opposing team, Sam Bennett would light that guy up. I know fans are writing that on social.
I don't know. That penalty
Someone
infuriated me.
Yeah.
Because
to the Sillinger one.
Because I had flashbacks to the Capital Series Game 6. The Panthers were up late in that game, and Gustav Forsling takes a delay of game penalty to make it 6-on-4 for the Capitals. TJ Oshie ties it. Thankfully, we won in overtime, but I had flashbacks to that game, and it was infuriating, to be honest. But
Cody, but you often talk about. I just want to say, piggyback off what Roy said there. You have to talk about like. They play the same style as us, but they don't have those superstars at the top. And how the Panthers are able to respond so quickly, especially on the road with all of these goals, it's kind of what Edmonton's doing out west there, that now will be the Stanley Cup final opponent. So I know you want to kind of touch on the Carolina thing, but now these are two teams that can score in a hurry here.
Oh, yeah, but it's two different teams, though, because Edmonton at home, they're immaculate. But their road numbers, like prior to the Dallas series, was very lackluster.
But they're able to score a lot on the road.
But namely, it's probably the LA series kind of skews that. But, I mean, Edmonton's been probably the best team in these playoffs. I mean, they won in 6 and 5 and 5. Like, Panthers won in 5, 7 and 5. So I think I'm giving the edge to Edmonton there. And Edmonton dispatched Vegas and Dallas with relative ease. Like jumping to Roy here, I mean, like watching those two series there, I mean, the Vegas one wasn't a shock, but Dallas, I mean, that series was shocking the way Edmonton kind of just stifled their offense completely.
Yeah, well, Dallas's play style is not like Florida's play style. Florida is more of a forechecking team, and Dallas, for whatever reason, has gone a little bit more skill-based, and the Oilers pounced all over that one. And how Jake Ottinger ended up leaving that game was pretty bad. That's a bad look for Peter DeBoer.
Especially the quote after did not age well either.
No, if there was a bus, and there is a bus that carries a team to and fro, from the airport, and they decided, Peter DeBoer decided to take Ottinger out of the bus, place him in front of the bus, get back on the bus, threw the driver out, got behind the wheel, ran Jake Ottinger over, backed up, ran him over again backwards, and then ran him over again forwards, and then drove home. That's how bad it was.
And they just signed him to an extension, right, Cody? A little bit. Yeah. So it reminded me of Roy Patrick Waugh last year with Sorokin there, Cody.
Yeah, but at least they have a more capable backup. I think I'm really high on Semyon Varlamov. And Varlamov did carry them throughout the entire year last year. But Casey DeSmith, I mean, come on. Like,
yeah, that's who you going that's who you go to in a panic after giving up 2 goals on 2 shots.
Like Edmonton had to go to someone in a panic, but I don't know if Dallas did. And
but Edmonton at least gave Skinner games, not 5 minutes and 2 shots.
And Skinner, it can fall apart like that.
Yeah, but Skinner's played really well this postseason, and here's the thing, people like to give him a lot of like, oh, he sucks. Like, look at his regular season number, he sucks. In the postseason, when Edmonton has needed him, he's been a damn good goalie. Like, let's not sit here and I understand like he has his moments where he can't stop a beach ball, but there are points in these playoffs where he's been good for Edmonton. And you saw it last year. I mean, he made the big save that created the 3-0 comeback for them. Remember, he stopped Verhaeghe. Like, when that 2-1 game 4, if that goes in, Florida probably wins game 4.
Yeah, I'm not discounting him moving forward, especially as the playoffs go along. His numbers go up, or get better. But again, I don't know how that's going to kind of play out here, in this type of matchup. Again, it's hard to bank on that. But when you do that with a guy like Ottinger, who's got kind of pedigree there, but then you're going back to what his numbers were in the Western Conference Final. They haven't been good over the last couple of years either.
But one of the most important things that you need to have as a goaltender is consistency, and that was a question going into the Dallas series, and he looked very much consistent in that series, and I don't know if that's going to happen going into the series with Florida, but if he can maintain that consistency, then the Oilers have a good shot to win this one, at least in 7.
Yeah.
Well, at most in 7, actually, because the 7-game series can't go past that. But yeah, at most in 7.
But I mean, picking back to Carolina, so we're talking about goalies, but Rod Brindamore made the big move going from Anderson to Kochetkov. And that move looked good for 2 periods.
Yeah.
And then the floodgates opened and it just became like what it was early in the series. But then he goes back to Anderson. Anderson pitches shutout. Frankly, Florida played horrible offensively in that game because the execution was not there. I don't get it for the life of me why at home this postseason the offense seems to dry up quite a bit, because this is back-to-back series where they've been shut out at home, namely Game 6 versus Toronto and Game 4 versus Carolina. Both of them closeout games, actually.
I think it was more of they had games they have to play with, and with injury, they're trying to get rest going. So that's why you didn't have Greer. Obviously, you didn't have Reinhardt and you didn't have Mikolas. So they're kind of shorthanded in that issue there. So they had games to play with, and they definitely took advantage of resting who they needed to rest in that situation.
That's insane to me. We're resting players in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I mean, that's what happens when you go up 3-0.
I never would have heard that statement out of my mouth before, especially with this team. But resting,
I would have to go back to like Detroit Red Wings of the late 90s. They'd be like, we can rest a couple guys. Like,
but they had like $150 million payroll back then.
Or non-salary cap here. That's what you have to go back to.
I want to talk about that.
But I know we were going to have Roy on, Cody, when we were in the Toronto series there, and then we kind of had to reschedule here for tonight. But like, we were going to talk about all the hits on the ice and the Tampa series and the things that were going on there, and then how the Toronto series was going to play out. But Roy, kind of played out here with the head coaches in the media. What were your thoughts on all the Paul Maurice, Rod Brindamore stuff that kind of got a lot of oxygen and airtime?
Well, it's not an issue if it wasn't on camera. Fortunately, they caught it on camera, and because of that, Paul Maurice had to explain himself. Also, I mean, Paul Maurice kind of talked it out with Craig Berube prior to their game in Toronto. He did not do that here with Rod Brindamore. He had to explain himself in the moment, which is not a good thing when you have to deal with somebody who just lost a series. And Rod Brindamore didn't exactly take kind to that. But it is what it is. There's going to be people against Paul Maurice in that situation, as far as if they have empathy towards Rod Brindamore. But if you think about what he said, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it should be players only. Like, there are a lot of people on that coaching and training staff that these players, have to shake hands with, at the end of this thing. And it can be like, why am I shaking this guy's hand? Like, this is taking too long. I got to get out of here. I just lost this series. Well, I got to get back there and take this picture with the Prince of Wales trophy over here and get up on this bus and get out of here. Like, let's hurry this thing up. But yeah, that's understandable. It should be the players on the ice who fought hard, who took pucks, who blocked the shots, took cheap hits, took punches to the face, all for the guy next to him. And I have to agree with Paul Maurice on his stance. But yeah, you got to feel bad for Rod Brindamore in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, like, people were like talking about him getting fired when honestly, his personnel is the problem. I mean, look at that roster. He's taken them to 2 Eastern Conference Finals in the last 3 years. I think he's doing a damn good job. But if they fire Rod Brindamore, Carolina is done.
Also, keep in mind the whole mess with Mikko Rantanen. Like, they expected him in the playoffs, and that didn't work out. So a piece was missing for all 3 rounds, and that's what you got.
That's something I talked about, Cody, having that difference maker, because you've said that. Some of my past hosts have said that. It's like they had him there, and Tulsky didn't do the research and the homework to know that he wanted to come there and fit in, and then that doesn't fit in with what Rod Brindamore and his program is there. That was a big issue going into these playoffs. You have Mikko Rantanen on the Leafs or the Hurricanes. Could be looking at a lot of different matchups here.
Oh yeah, we did play the Leafs, and they nixed that trade to go to Toronto, to Carolina. He may still end up signing there, but he nixed the trade.
Yeah, but if you're a Panther fan, who'd you rather go up against? Marner or Rantanen? And I'm biased because I don't like Marner, but I'm just
But I do.
It doesn't matter. Bring them all on. It doesn't matter.
Look, we want.
But just to Roy's point there, I do agree with him to a point, but I think the head coach should be in the line. Like, if you're Rod Brindamore, and you lose and you want to talk to some of the players in the handshake line, I'm not waiting around at the bus and talk to the guys. Like, I want to get the hell out of there if you lost. So again, and if, like Roy said, he wasn't mentioned prior to that or have those conversations, and I could be a little surly in that situation.
Look,
you might coach against some of those guys. Rob Boomer played in the league. He hoisted the Stanley Cup as a captain.
Like, I hate the term sore loser. I hate that term. Of course you're going to be mad when you lose. What kind of question is that? It's like when Cam Newton got all that flack for that press conference at Super Bowl this years ago. That was the dumbest thing in the world. He just lost the biggest game of his life. You expect that man to be happy?
Well, it's like they want players to be honest or coaches to be honest, then when they do.
He's got to answer the media's dumb behind questions.
Well, it's contractually obligated.
It's contractually obligated, but still, like, you expect the man to be happy? I don't expect any of the Hurricanes to be happy. They just lost. Their season's done. And heck, they got smacked the first three. Smacked completely. Like, hell, people were calling this series one of the worst Eastern Conference Finals in recent memory. Hell, this was probably the worst two conference finals together in a year ever. I can't think of another one.
I think to Roy's point, and what you said off air, Cody, Pete DeBoer's taking more heat now than Rod Brind'Amour. Well, he avoided that sweep there, which he would have had to answer all off season and all next season.
At least Brind'Amour had a lot more excuses than what DeBoer has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's just like Brind'Amour, you consider be like, okay, he did not have the personnel at all. They tried the Rantanen thing, blew up in their face, and the deal took so long they couldn't deal any of the picks they got from Dallas to go and get different guys. Because I guarantee you they probably would have went out and got, like, a Brock Besser or something.
And then Dallas, who actually had Mikko Rantanen, still lost because Peter DeBoer panicked.
And you want to talk about a name to watch in the offseason to be moved for Dallas. I think Kirby's going to like this name. I think Mason Marchman's probably going to be on the move this offseason because Dallas only has $6 million in cap space going into this offseason.
I'm going to spend all my money there. I'll leave that up to others to decide. And it's, again, a winger, Roy. We always talk about, like, let's strengthen from the back end. I'll be curious what they do here in the offseason. Now, again, I better ask this question to Roy because we didn't ask it to Doug McLean and our community got mad. Roy, how do you see I know we're still in the battle. We're still in the fight here. We still have a very important round ahead. But I have to ask you, how do you think the Sam Bennett and Aaron Ekblad?
Oh, my good Lord.
Everyone got mad at me for not asking Doug this, so.
Sam Bennett and Aaron Ekblad, no boy. Well, if you can get Sam Bennett to take a hometown discount like you did Sam Reinhart, because there's absolutely no way that Sam Bennett is going to get paid as much as Matthew Tkachuk, then yeah, I mean, but as far as Aaron Ekblad is concerned, injuries and the PED situation that didn't go over too well. But he's paid a lot of money, and he's expected to be paid more. I think he's more expendable than Sam Bennett would be.
Yeah.
Cody's a big Ekblad guy, but did you hear Roy use the word injuries there, Cody?
But I'm not against it. That's my whole thing. I think both are gone, to be honest with you.
But not a lot of people say what Roy do. They forget those injuries.
Because with Ekblad, here's the thing. Ekblad's more expendable, but he's going to be harder to replace than what Bennett is. Because, top four right shot defensemen don't grow on trees in this league much anymore.
No.
Well, Roy knows Cody's a big proponent of Ekblad. Not so much of Bennett, but I do agree what you're saying, Cody.
Yeah, Ekblad's my favorite player in this franchise's history. That's my guy.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, this is probably going to be I'm going to cherish all these games we have because I don't think number 5's coming back.
Well, with the Seth Jones move, you called it too after it happened.
Yeah. And I called the Bennett thing when Lundell got signed because that's the thing with the whole Bennett ordeal. And I've said this, we played 82 games, so about square that. That's how many times I've said this. It just doesn't make financially make sense to pay Bennett. Because I see people saying want to give him $8 million. Okay, you're giving him $8 million, but Lundell's going to surpass him in a year or two here. Lundell's already matching him. Bennett just had his career high. Lundell finished, 3-4 points below him?
What are you going to do? You're going to drop, if he does resign here, you're going to drop Bennett down to the third line center?
In a year or two, I can't keep Lundell there forever.
How's he going to accept that, Cody?
I don't think he will. And with the way these insiders are talking about teams that are going to pay him, I would be shocked if he re-signed here for because he would have to take less than 7 to stay here.
Because what's the hometown discount for you, Roy? There, because that number's bumping up. And I wanted Reinhart signed after the Marlins opening pitch last year in what was it, Cody, in the summer there, and then waited all season for it to play out, and then they had to pay him more there. They could have got him a lot cheaper, Roy, if they would have signed him after that.
Well, keep in mind the salary cap is going up considerably.
Yeah,
$95 million. That's one. Secondly, I wouldn't be as concerned about Ekblad leaving if the Panthers didn't have that sound of defense from a team aspect. Yeah. They are solid from the forwards and the defensemen defensively. So losing Ekblad, who contributes offensively, is huge. But defensively, him doing this job, the Panthers could do away with that contract and use it for something else. As far as Brad Marchand is concerned,
that's the one I want to resign.
Here we go.
That I don't know. Maybe he'll take a discount. You don't know about that, but they have a lot of decisions that they have to make. They got RFAs to deal with as well. So
yeah, Mackey's the one, but it's just with Mackey. It's just I think he's running at 1.5, maybe 2, probably just a little bridge deal, whatever. Keep him in an RFA.
But Brad Marchand, just to Roy's point there, Cody, I think that's where you get a discount. Fans are like, oh, we're going to get that with Gudas. No, we weren't. With Tarasenko, no, we weren't. But this is a guy where you can get him at that $4.5 million number for a year or 2-year deal, and you get him to fit in with your third line, whatever you're just doing with the 2C with Bennett's situation. Look, but you've got Marchand to fit in there, and Marchand can play first, second, third, up and down.
Because people were trying to say, oh, Tarasenko loves it here and stuff like that last year, trying to say, let's re-sign Tarasenko, but Marchand, different story. I mean, he might be, honestly, one of the best, the best fit trade acquisitions the Panthers ever had. Fit-wise, there has not been a player they've acquired that has fit them better. Maybe Sam Bennett when he got here, that's why a little bit
I'll
different.
put Jaromir Jagr into that.
Yeah, but Jagr was here just to mentor Barkov, and I don't know where would Barkov be with that acquisition. Shout out Dale Talon. The only thing he did good were trades. After that was just horrible.
He drafted well.
After 2014, I'd be remiss to say.
Well, he drafted well early. That's just
early, yeah.
Which some people are like, well, that's the credit to the Finnish scouts or these scouts or whatever. But the free agency, that was the big problem. Again, to get back to kind of wrap this all together here with a bow here, Cody, Zito's going to be very diligent on these contracts. Just because there's money to spend now. We know how Bill Zito is. He's going to watch the dollars.
In the 5 years, Zito, with his money, dots his I's and crosses his T's. But draft picks, he don't care. Let's be real here. That's we haven't had a first round pick in what, 5 years now? That's going to be 4, and our next first round pick's out till 2028.
Yeah.
This is why you need a good development staff, because if you are picking third round draft picks and on down, then you're gonna have to develop them pretty well.
Hey, they're looking
coming to overseas picks now, Cody.
Yeah.
Free agent, stuff like that.
Hey, they're looking pretty good as of right now. The Charlotte Checkers are up 2-0 in the Calder Cup Eastern Conference Finals
against Laval. We love that. The Habs.
Yeah, screw
the Rocket.
Screw the Habs. We don't like Montreal here, but wrapping up the Carolina series, I was so happy because Carolina is my most hated team by far.
Cody, it's like you're back in my day of fandom. You were young guy then watching those.
Yeah, but Roy, this dates back to the Southeast Division for me.
Remember those, Roy?
So not Washington then, huh?
Washington just beat us all the time, but I don't remember them doing stuff too.
Atlanta and Carolina were the most frustrating.
Atlanta, we could never beat them no matter what. I have no idea why.
It's Kovalchuk, Hossa, give him 5 points tonight.
Pavlik would have 13 shutouts on us.
You're not a Danny Heatley fan, I guess, huh?
Oh, the heater.
Oh, 50
and
07.
He would have hurt us longer if he would have stayed there.
Yeah.
he would have been there with. But then Hossa came in and replaced that, and that was like.
Yeah, but Carolina I hate because it's just. I always remember just being just a bunch of pricks just diving all the time. And you saw early in this series why I hated this team because Svechnikov
Sammy Kapanen over here diving on me.
Yeah. There's another one.
I
can't slander Ray Whitney. He wasn't too bad.
I love Ray Whitney.
I mean, look, the only Hurricanes I really liked were none growing up. Actually, the only guy I like now is like Seth Jarvis, but
Trocheck as well.
Oh yeah, that little.
He killed us when he was in Carolina. Oh my goodness, he scored like every time he played them.
I mean, he should have. I remember. I swear to goodness, the last game he played down here before he was traded. Walking out of the locker room, I had looked to my right, and I see Vinny. He looked dejected, like depressed, dejected, sad. And I'm walking out. I'm like, that looks like a guy that was just told he was about to be traded. And lo and behold, he ends up getting traded to Carolina. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just witnessed that. Oh man.
And that
clip it, Cody, clip it.
And that package did not look good at the time. Like
I just think he never fit in with Coach Q, and that was the guy that got
like they always there was always rumors they butted heads, but I'm not sure how true those are. But
it makes sense because that guy was he was an integral part of that room. He was one of the locker room DJs, or if not DJ.
Yeah, but it was Vetrano, I think, after he left because I remember them talking about Vetrano.
And then
but Trocheck was like the heart and soul of the team, and that team kind of like withered away and died the rest of that year, especially going into the bubble.
Yeah,
like the one good game they played after the deadline was when Luongo got his jersey retired against Montreal. After that was just horrible.
Yeah, could have used him against the Islanders that year.
We could have used anyone versus the Islanders that year.
So, Roy, kind of like transitioning here to the Stanley Cup Final. What was your thoughts, feelings going into it last year against Edmonton, and here we are again going into it again against the Edmonton Oilers and all my family and friends? Oh God, I gotta gear up here again.
I mean, last year I was. Obviously, last year I was excited. All right, back to back, nice. We're doing this again, and we're going to Canada. All right, let's do this. Let's make sure that these guys don't get the cup back. Awesome. And then the travel, and then I was like, oh shucks. Now I gotta go back. Oh no, not again. Like everybody blamed me for the Game 4 loss, and then everybody blamed me for the 2 losses after that. When they really should have blamed Greg Cody for calling Connor McDavid.
Overrated.
Yeah, they should be angry at him, not me.
Cody, it sounds like Roy's community. That's like me here.
Wasn't he? I could have sworn he was on the Le Bertard show after they won the cup. Like was he not on the show after they won?
No, I don't believe he
was somewhere after they won. I forget where, but
I remember the clip.
But but Cody, I think he's covered the Dolphins most of his his Herald career, and he needs to stay with the Dolphins, because Dolphin reporters are very negative.
Well, Dave Hyde, I don't know if he's very negative, but
him and Furones are like the two that aren't as negative, but like Omar Kelly, Chris Perkins, good Lord, I mean. Like Omar Kelly just tells it how it is. I mean, I respect Omar for that, but Perkins, I mean, the Dolphins could beat a team 57-0. They can, and someone didn't tie their shoe correctly.
Yeah, but Cody, you being a Dolphins fan, that's a whole different climate. Like how Dolphins beat reporters are versus the Panthers. The
Panthers were never good enough early on to get covered by reporters.
Harvey Filikoff was the one that cut him up the most, I think, Roy, that I remember.
Back then, there were only like 3 beat reporters for the Panthers.
Yeah. Really. George Richards way back before then when he came back.
Those press
in Columbus.
Those press boxes used to be empty. The only time they'd be filled was before the trade deadline, where they had like 1,000 scouts up there.
Yeah.
Waiting to see who the Panthers are going to sell.
Who are our owners? And then they come down and they do like a 5-minute press conference. Like, I don't even know those guys. I barely know them, but yeah, it's cool.
I'll never forget. Like me and my best friend, we won a raffle. We won a raffle for Panther tickets from Duffy's. We were the only 2 people that entered that raffle.
Oh man,
that's how bad it was. But hey, but we can laugh at this. I mean, back 3 straight Cup Finals. We couldn't make it 3 straight years over 500. And
Yeah.
And Cody mentioned Doug McLean. We couldn't keep a head coach, Roy, for more.
Oh yeah, Roy. This
there had to have been like 18 total in franchise history, I believe.
Yeah, Paul Maurice,
and that's including the interim.
We'll get through the ball before the end of the year.
Paul Maurice will be the first coach in Panthers history to make it past 3 seasons.
Yeah, this is the longest tenured coach. Already. Longest tenured coach.
And the sad thing is he's been here this is going to be his 3rd year, and he's the greatest coach this team's ever had.
Yeah, better than Jacques Martin.
Oh, Bob
they gave him
Boomer.
GM, coach, whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's Mike Keenan.
Run the whole team. Yep.
Tom Rowe.
Oh my Lord.
Tom Rowe with Paul Maurice in Carolina.
Yeah, firing Gerard Gallant.
And the taxi cab. That was the biggest amount of press we've ever gotten. It was the
Roy, you know the
press.
NHL well. Aren't you surprised that Gerard Gallant doesn't have a job already?
Well, yeah. I mean, especially considering that this league loves to recycle head coaches. I mean, John Tortorella got a job in Philadelphia, got fired. Why isn't Gerard Gallant in Philadelphia? That's
Mike Babcock got a job back.
Yeah, very quickly he got fired. I mean, he didn't even get to the season.
That was so
Gerard
crazy.
Gallant,
He didn't make it to training camp.
Gerard Gallant, Cody, is very hard. I've always talked about this with GMs and ownership groups, but give him a shot at least.
He must piss somebody off because there's no way
he'll take you to the playoffs or conference final or Stanley Cup.
Here's the thing, we got Pete DeBoer over here, and this is a crazy stat. 6 of the last 7 Western Conference Finals, Pete DeBoer has lost. Going back to his time with the Sharks, now with the Stars. Boy.
Just got to give him game 7s though, because he's undefeated there.
Oh no, but he can't. But he loses Western Conference Finals in 5 and 6. Those are his 2.
Just give him 2. Give him 2.
But I mean, speaking of coaches, I mean, we had 2 recently hired coaches around the NHL. The Seattle Kraken hired Lane Lambert. I have no idea why. You had so many better options.
Yeah.
And it's rumored that Marco Sturm is going to be the head coach in Boston. Not shocking. He played for the franchise, and they like to keep within the organization there for some unknown reason. I have no idea why.
Former Panther.
But they mentioned, I don't know why this name got brought up for Boston, but Mark Savard. Ha!
Mr. Cheerleader there.
They hate Mark Savard. Ooh.
Yeah, didn't we pay the last of his deal when he retired because of that concussion?
I think so.
I think we did pay the rest of that deal.
But they want to get rid of Mark Savard for not running a proper power play. Head coach, a lot less.
The head coach more upset with him cheering on his team after they score a goal.
Roy, how do you think? Okay, if this series plays out in the Panthers' favor, how does it have to play out? If it's going to play out in Edmonton's favor this time around, what's going well for them there?
Well, I mean, the biggest problem the Panthers have had in rounds 1 and 2 is transition defense and stretch passes. And if you got the 2 best players in the world, and one of them is the best stick handling and the fastest in the league, that's going to be a problem if he gets behind your defense. That's going to have to go well for the Edmonton Oilers if they want to beat the Panthers, their transition game. The Panthers obviously need to stick to their game and forecheck the hell out of them. And they need to
pressure their defense, pressure them,
force turnovers, and take advantage of them. I mean, you saw that stat about goals scored 5 seconds after the turnover.
We were by far
it was like double.
Yeah.
We led in 2023. I think the Kraken were second that year.
Yeah, we probably led in 2024 too.
Might have. I didn't see that in 2024.
That's just what the Panthers are. That's their MO. Make mistake, pay for mistake. That's exactly how it is. And I really don't like this series because we don't have home ice this time. And Edmonton is
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
I mean, with the way they're playing on the road, it probably does. But Edmonton's a top 3 hard place to play. Thankfully,
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I still think House of Horrors for the Panthers is probably going to always going to be Vegas. I mean, they can't win in that building to save their lives. They've only won once,
something like that.
Yeah.
And that in Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so happy it's not Winnipeg. Oh my God.
They ain't got an airport.
Already said that was going to happen this year, Roy.
Oh goodness. Listen, and first of all, the weather. Let's get that out of the way. Like we already know about that. But yeah, I mean, no flights up there.
I have been to the airport. They do have an airport. It's pretty nice. People say they don't have one, but
how small is it? That's the question. Like, do they have American Airlines dropping down, or
I don't know all the connectors that go. Be a little different than Calgary.
WestJet over here.
Hey, they probably got freaking Frontier out there.
Yeah,
is that what you took, Roy, last year, WestJet?
No, I took Air Canada.
Oh boy,
WestJet used to be better than Air Canada. Now I don't know where they all rank. It's
WestJet's probably better than Air Canada considering what I had to go through.
I'd rather walk than go to Air Canada again.
Cody has family in Vancouver, so I call him our honorary Canadian.
Yeah,
like I'm over here calling customer service because I need a receipt, and they're just pushing me off the phone. Like that's. Yeah, this is customer service. That is not how you serve your customers.
You're lucky you got through to someone, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I don't think Kirby's going to get this reference, but I think it'd be funny if that Winnipeg airport's like the size of like a Checkers or something.
It probably is. I can get some good fries out of there.
Yeah. But, I mean, just Winnipeg. Probably going to get relocated again.
Cody's throwing that out there. Oh, no, don't come at me, Jets fans that are in our chat.
Right back to Atlanta.
Go back to Hartford.
Numbers, Cody. We're trying to increase the sub numbers here.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of Jets fans.
I mean, at least as long as they're Winnipeg and not New York.
You know what we haven't been getting, Roy, here the last week or two? Leaf fans coming by our.
Yeah, they have been.
Kind of disappeared.
Hey, Leaf fans, we weren't the dirty. We weren't the dirty team last series. It wasn't us.
Yeah, it wasn't us. It wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
They're running our goalie, Roy.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't us.
Corey Perry, though, I had Roy here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Man, that's the one you got to look out for. I'm sure Sam Bennett's going to have a field day with that one.
Yeah, but
they need Corey Perry to step up for Zach Hyman. I don't think that can happen.
There are three names from last year's Stanley Cup Final that haunt me to this day. One of them is a lifetime Panther killer, Adam Henrique.
Yeah.
Connor Brown.
Yes.
Matthias Janmark.
I knew you were going to add Janmark.
Those three destroyed us last year.
I think we got to control Perry more than Janmark.
It wasn't McDavid. It wasn't Draisaitl. It was those three.
Yep.
No, Alexander Barkov kind of took care of that first line.
Oh yeah, he took care of it. But once that third line got out there, we were hemmed in. They had a breakaway every other freaking shift.
And that's their energy line, man.
Boy, yep. Rather burn that line to the ground. But Roy, appreciate you having you on.
Before Roy goes, though, any prediction before you can tell everyone where to follow him as you guys are?
Panthers in 6.
Panthers in 6. I like that.
Been a popular pick in the community.
That's right. But hey, I like that pick. But Roy, where can everyone else follow you, and where can they find, the legend that it is Roy Bellamy?
I am on the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz. I am also on Because Miami with Billy Corbin and the hockey show. I'm the host of that. I'm with
those clips with Rose there on Instagram, they get me there.
Yeah. David Drog is my co-host. Rose is our second in command behind me, and Ethan Badowski is also there. And our episodes for today's hockey show and Because Miami dropped today, you can find the hockey show and the Dan Le Batard show on DraftKings Network, and you can find all three of those shows on YouTube. You can find the hockey show on the Le Batard and Friends Network, along with the other two shows there. And you can click on the playlist tab and click the hockey show, and that's where you can find our shows. We have Barbara Schusen on today.
My favorite announcer.
That's Cody's
He should be broadcasting the ESPN Cup Final, not frickin' Sean McDonough.
Well, come on, man.
List guest there. That's your top guy ever.
Don't hate on Sean McDonough, all right? Look, Sean McDonough is great.
He's great with college football. My favorite call was him with the Michigan, the fumble with the punt.
Yeah.
And his voice breaks like 13 times in that clip.
Cody just wants Bob on every Panther.
I want Bob, baby. I know he does radio for the Jets. I forgive him for that. But Bob's my favorite hockey announcer as of right now. If it was my choice, I'd bring back Gary Thorne. But
yeah, I mean, as you guys know, Bob spent his career. He started his career down here. It was a WQAM. And on today's episode, he has a couple of great stories about his early days working in radio with John Shambi. And this is just after John. Well, he actually
book Shambi, baby.
He actually helped recruit John to come down here, and Joe Zagacki was the program director at QAM, and he recruited John to come down here, and John ended up being his roommate. And the rest is history for Boog and Bob. They both became premier play-by-play analysts, and good on them. But that's how you start in radio, man. You start making $7.50 an hour. And you work your way up from there.
But appreciate it, Roy, as always. As we say goodbye to our friend Roy, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Caneswear.
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
Thank you, AI Kirby, as always. And
I got us for this one here as well, here, Cody. I just want to thank Roy for coming on here.
Hey, let's hear what the future Panther free agents are going to have to call for some housing in South Florida. Eh?
Oh, that's right. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and his team put humans over houses, working hard for you, whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BeckSellsFLA.com. Again, that's BeckSellsFLA.com, or call 772-475-5371 now. You'll be glad you did.
But Kirby, we're back to the Cup final. We got back.
I haven't had a chance to wrap my mind all around it today. It's been a busy day. We're trying to get guest schedule and everything. I haven't really sat back and really reflected on it yet. We still haven't made our predictions. We're going to make that next podcast with Nick when he's back here. So yeah, Cody, it's surreal just to think about. Like today I was thinking about the Barkov and McDavid matchup when I was coming home, and I'm just like, we're going to get that again.
It's in Barkov's probably going to be just as good as last year, even if not even better, because I do think McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be a lot more motivated now, because when you have that loss, you come back with a little bit more of a vengeance. And I think Draisaitl is coming into the series healthy.
Yes.
So he's going to be a big part. But once again, I mean, big loss for Edmonton with Zach Hyman.
Mm-hmm. In that Dallas series there.
Shout out Mason Marchment.
Yeah, Mason Marchment, even though, I wouldn't even call it accidentally on purpose. Just
he was going for the hit, and he got his elbow. I don't think it was. Then again, if he hits his arm, it's not relatively dirty. It's just he caught him in a weird spot, the weird angle.
And Hyman's getting wrist surgery.
The rumor is wrist. I wouldn't be surprised if it was elbow as well.
But I think the S word was in there, surgery.
Yeah, he had surgery.
Yeah, because did you hear the Seth Jarvis news today?
No. He
has a separator, injured shoulder, something upper body. He's not getting surgery done because he doesn't want to miss the Olympics. Ooh. That's what I heard reported today. So pretty wild if he's going to hold out on that. Because we talked about, you and I wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Tkachuk missed the start of next season. Yeah. How does that play in if he needs surgery or he doesn't need surgery?
But the difference is Seth Jarvis is a bubble player for the Olympics for Canada. I understand Four Nations and all that, but
he's on the list for playing in Four Nations.
Yeah, but he could.
So are some of the guys that play in the World Championships.
But he could still be on the bubble because remember they left guys off like Mark Scheifele off. Mm-hmm. Those types of guys, and I think those guys could have a say in the Olympics.
But if he's holding off surgery or different things, again, if this report comment is true, he's really has that eye towards Olympics. Actually, as do a lot of the NHL players, whether they were on Four Nations rosters or not, right? But that was just something interesting because we've talked about the Matthew Tkachuk injury and how that's going to look going into next fall. I don't think a lot of people are talking about Cody, but you and I, we've talked about it.
Yeah, it's just with these playoff injuries, you have no idea what anyone's playing with. I think Greer's dealing with. I think AJ Greer, I think, is going to be on the list for getting surgery this offseason.
Yep.
Matthew Tkachuk's on the list. I think Mikla has a chance of it.
I think Reinhardt's fine. We don't know.
It could be. It could be, but he came
There's
back.
going to be one or two surprises that we don't know. And again, they're not done playing yet. They still have another round ahead here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a long round. I mean, just checking out the scheduling here. I mean, some of the worst, I believe. Like it's like as we mentioned earlier. I mean, you have like the 3-day break in between. Like I'll pull
not going to June 24th this time.
I'll pull it up here for our YouTube audience.
June 21st, I think, is the last possible game, right?
June 20th.
20th, yeah.
Yeah, so you see you have you have the extra travel day in between, but you have 3 days in between games 3 and 4 there. And luckily for the Panthers, it's at home. I think I'd be a little bit more worrisome if it was on the road.
What I've heard about this schedule, again, from the Canada,
I think they're
saying this is U.S. television playing a role in this schedule.
Yeah, because the NBA Finals.
Yes. Okay.
So, but looking at this, it's just like this could go. At least we won't have a week until free agency this time. We'll get 4 extra days.
Yeah, we need all the extra days we can. We didn't even do the community contributor kind of tweets.
We couldn't.
We didn't have time, everyone.
Like
where everyone kind of partakes in who the Panthers are going to sign, and who they're going to bring in. This year it'll be a little bit more fun, because it'll be even more money to spend and possibilities.
And the year after, even more money after that, and the year after that, even more money.
Yep. And we're going to be live for our July 1st free agency frenzy day show. So make sure to join us here. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to Big C's as well. I think it's along the bottom there, Cody. If it's not, we'll put it along the bottom for our YouTube audience. We'll also have it in our ad descriptions as well. So make sure that you're following all of us if you're listening to us over on the Oh, and we need 5-star reviews, Cody, on the Apple side. We need those algorithms bumped up on the Apple side, because there's a lot. I think the majority of our audio listeners are on the Apple side. So please give us that 5-star review. Bump us up on the algorithms a bit there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but if you're not following Big C's already, what's he doing?
I know. I say that to everyone. I got to give him the shout out. I know you all are already following him or have been following him for years now. But we got to give the shout out.
Even if you think you're following him, check again just to make sure,
And make sure to check out his latest podcast episode.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Biz Nasty story. I still got to check it out this weekend.
I wonder if he's going to send something to Wit this week.
Right.
We'll see here.
We'll see. Yeah.
But it's so surreal. I mean, we're talking with Roy, talking about the dark ages, stuff like that. I mean, we're back in the Cup final for the 3rd straight year. Hell, we're in the Cup final now more than the Calgary Flames have their entire franchise's history.
Yeah, some of these numbers are crazy. I put a tweet out today. I don't know if you have it there, but we'll put it on our recap show at the very least. It's wild to see like the Panthers, the franchise that we all cheered for and loved and adored for all those years, to be back to the Stanley Cup final for the 3rd straight year in a row, and hopefully able to get it done here against Edmonton. But like we always say, Cody, the window's not closing. It's just opening here. So it's going to be an interesting run here.
People always look at 96 as like, a special time, but these are the special years right here. 96 is a miracle run. This is a run of dominance right here.
Yep. Now in Canada, they're talking about the top 5 teams of this century. The Chicago Blackhawks, LA Kings, Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh did it in 2 different windows. And then you got the Tampa Bay Lightning and Florida Panthers. We are now in that top 5 range. Teams like Edmonton and other teams like Toronto that don't even get to finals, like they're much lower down that list.
Like of the decade or the century?
Of the century. Those are the 5.
Really? Detroit's not on it?
Nope, they didn't include them in that TSC.
Wow. Detroit.
That kind of carries over into the 90s there too.
Detroit nor Colorado. Okay.
Would you have Detroit ahead of one of those 5?
Right.
Maybe certainly Florida. You got to give Florida a little bit of credence because we're still, on this run right now.
Yeah, but Chicago, I think, is the best team of this century.
Yeah, that's the one that you did name.
That's number 1. If you put Tampa, I think Tampa's 2 for me.
Okay, they had Tampa a little lower. I think they kind of had LA and Pittsburgh interchangeable. Pittsburgh's different with the.
Okay, you could put Pittsburgh above Tampa
because they're even giving us a little edge on Tampa because they did it during COVID.
Yeah, I guess they're doing that, but I think 3 cups are 3 cups.
Yeah.
Oh, but
You're
then
counting
again,
back to
what
that.
is this Canadian media?
Yes.
Oh, they're probably counting the 04 Cup against them too because Jelena goal goes in, no one counts it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I think because that was a little further apart from what they did after, they were counting the Stanley Cup Final. Well, wait, what year was it against Chicago? They're 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Tampa, Chicago.
Yeah, Tampa, Chicago.
15.
Duncan Keith won.
15.
15. He won the Conn
13 was Boston.
Boston. Was it?
Yeah, 13 was Chicago.
Oh, Boston and Chicago. Yeah. I thought you were going to tell me Vancouver. That was 11, right?
No, that was 11, and then 2012 was L.A., New Jersey.
Yeah, the year they beat us in Game 7, New Jersey.
Adam Henrique. Then 13 was Boston, Chicago. 14 was L.A. Rangers. 15 was Blackhawks, Lightning. And then that kickstarted Tampa's. Like, wow.
Is that when Stamkos was hurt, but then he came back for the final?
No, that was 2020, no?
Okay, I thought there was a key injury there for Tampa. Maybe I'm thinking of another guy on their team.
It could be Ben Bishop for all we know.
Okay, yeah, he was a lot injury prone. So,
but
yeah, we're not going to give our predictions or anything like that. We're going to wait for Nick to come back, give our top 5 list.
Yeah, Nick would yell at us if we gave our predictions now, especially for those of you who know how he is.
We don't want to review it from last round because he'd be like, I wasn't here and all that. No, so
but looking at the top 5 from last round, I mean, it's going to be a close fight here, I think.
Yeah, I got to formulate how I'm going to do that. I might have to go back and listen to my top 5 from last year.
Yeah, I mean, but I think at least all of us got number 1 correct.
Yeah, for the Eastern Conference Final. I stuck with Barkov just like I did in 2023 when I did my list at the time. So, yeah, I went back to Barkov there. But it'll be interesting how it plays out here. I'm going to have a pretty even list here. I'm not going to give my prediction yet, but I'm favoring the Panthers about 52 to 54%. And that might be me wearing my Panthers fandom hat a little bit.
Yeah.
And hating all my family and friends north of me in Edmonton, 3 hours away. So
I will say this, though.
I don't know.
If this does go 7, I do not like the Panthers' chances.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm there with you on that, but I do see where you're coming from. If it ends in a short series, it's going in favor of Edmonton.
Unless
we'll be kind of shocked if the Panthers win in 4 or 5.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much shocked. We'll be elated, but shocked. But
that's where I'm giving Edmonton a lot more favor here early part.
I think this
Edmonton is different this year, I feel.
I think this Edmonton team's way better structurally. And I think
sorry to interrupt, Cody, remember everyone, I had Panthers in 5 last year and taken like 3 of the first 4.
Yeah, I think
I don't see it.
I think could be a series 2-2 going to game 5.
Yeah, I'm hoping for us that we're hanging in there where it's evened up. Yeah. Because I think it's reverse of last year. That's just how I'm feeling. I feel like we could have got it done 5 last year. I still hold to that. I know we stole kind of game 1, but the goalie plays.
But you got to steal games,
right? A goalie plays the position, everyone. So if Bob stole us the game, it counts.
Well, goalies are a part of the team too. You're like, oh, if you didn't have Bob, well, if we didn't have Bob, we wouldn't be here, Dub.
Reminds you of Toronto in 2023. If
you didn't have Bob, we would have beat you in 6. Like, okay, like.
Because the analytics showed that we were the better team. Leafs Nation.
Yeah, analytics got you far there. Did it, Leaf fans?
Kyle Dubas, out the side door, as we say. But Cody, anything on the way out?
No, I mean, stay tuned. We're gonna have our Spaces preview show Monday night.
Yeah. Scheduled Avery in Edmonton. We had him last year. It is on our network, so you can check out last year's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. See how we did last year with our predictions.
And then expect the podcast right around Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, maybe even earlier. We'll see.
Trying to get a scheduled guest if we can.
But anyway, I mean, appreciate you guys listening. Once again, give us 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Give us a like on YouTube, thumbs up, subscribe, comment. How are you guys feeling going into this series right now? Are we feeling Florida or Edmonton? You guys probably feel Florida, but maybe some people may feel Edmonton this year. Maybe the cup goes back to Canada for the first time since '93.
Even if you aren't watching on YouTube, leave your comments over there, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can.
But anyway, as signing off from me and Kirby, and for the Nick Levine that isn't here, as we sign off here, and always, let's go Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats!